MeMonster.
Chapter 151. Creator's Sacred Grace, Guild Leader's Office. Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han sat across from Yoon Sung-ah. All three wore troubled expressions, each lost in their own worries. Here, it's the official application form. Yoon Sung-ah broke the silence, placing two forms on the table. Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han picked them up at the same time. Creator's Sacred Grace application form. Starting salary 400 million won plus performance-based benefits. Compared to the average Cube graduate salary of 150 to 200 million won, this was a generous offer, especially given Creator's Sacred Grace's current situation. Oh! Yi Young-han's face brightened. Clearly, he'd been worried about money. Creator's Sacred Grace had been in the red for a while. The public knew this well, thanks to the daily stream of articles. The guild had suffered astronomical losses from lawsuits and settlements after their failed tower campaign. To recover, they needed to conquer at least 30 small dungeons. It might not be enough, but this is the best we can do. Yoon Sung-ah misunderstood Kim Soo-ho's expression. In truth, the guild's budget was at its limit. They couldn't afford to offer more, and some of the money even came from Yoon Sung-ah's own pocket. No, it's fine. I'm happy too with this amount. Kim Soo-ho stayed quiet out of respect for Yoon Sung-ah's pride, while Yi Young-han signed the form satisfied. Great, then you can go take a look at your assigned offices. Yes. Kim Soo-ho and Yi Young-han left Yoon Sung-ah alone in her office. She let out a deep sigh. Money. The word haunted her from all directions. She'd never thought money would be such a problem, but her debt over the past 2 years had reached 5 billion won. My net worth used to be 5 billion won. She laughed at herself and picked up her phone. She no longer hesitated to call and borrow money. Her pride had vanished after countless bank visits. Rather than worrying about today, she focused on how to survive tomorrow. Ta-ring! Hello? Uni? Oh, what's up? It's me, Yoon Sung-ah. I know. Right. She laughed awkwardly. After a moment's hesitation, she decided to be direct. How have you been lately? Huh? Anyway, do you want to reconsider? We still have seats open. Eileen quickly made a counter-offer. Yoon Sung-ah was caught off guard. Why do you care so much about that guild anyway? Do you want to be a guild leader that much, even after all you've been through? Last I checked, your guild was still ranked 20. It's ranked 13 now. We recovered a bit. Plus, it's been my dream to become Creator's Sacred Grace's guild leader since I was young. I achieved my dream, so, Uni. What? Eileen's words eased Yoon Sung-ah's tension. She decided to be a bit more shameless. Can you lend me some money? 2028. June. Because of the silver moon phenomenon, monsters worldwide went wild. Governments declared states of emergency and ordered guilds to destroy monster habitats. Creator's Sacred Grace's hero, Kim Soo-ho, achieved fantastic results. He destroyed a settlement of blood bears in Suwon's mountain range and became the youngest intermediate rank hero. Soon after, Shin Jong-hak achieved a similar feat and also became an intermediate rank hero. 2028, August. Essence of the Strait founded Monster Corpse Dismemberment and Refinement and Mana Crystal Refinery. Even in Korea, these two factories used state-of-the-art mana technology. We'll start the ribbon-cutting ceremony. The opening was grand. Present were Essence of the Strait Guild Leader Yoo Jin-ung, Vice Leader Yi Jin-ah, SH Agency CEO Park Soo-hik, the Mayor of Ujeongbu, and Yoo Yana. Clap, clap, clap. With roaring applause, the ceremony ended. Good work. Yu Yana shook hands with Park Soo-hik. These factories were possible thanks to Essence of the Straits' partnership with SH Agency, whose hunters provided monster corpses, lowering production costs. So, from now on, we should transfer all the monsters Fenrir kills to this place. Yes, but in front of me, you can just call him Kim Hajin. Ah, yes, understood. Then I'll take my leave. Yes, see you later. After giving Park Soo-hik a warm smile, she approached Yoo Jin-ung, waiting by the limousine. 2028, October. The number of aerial and oceanic monsters exploded. Island countries like Japan and England were hit hard. Parts of England's islands and Japan's Kyushu were designated as intermediate-rank danger zones. 2028, December. Japan requested help from Korea and the Hero Association, while England put out mercenary recruitment ads to handle the crisis themselves. The world ridiculed their decision. Then, 2029, February. On Baekdu Mountain summit, where fierce winds blew. Ready. A battle was about to begin. Even the spectators wore chi reinforcement, as Baekdu Mountain's mana-infused wind was like knives that could cut skin. Amid this iron wind, Chae Na-yoon glared at a man. Her muscles were tense, her mind cool with nervousness. Start. At the signal, Chae Na-yoon drew a 1.8-meter longsword, Highlander's Claymore, a historical-grade artifact from Chae Shin-hik. Her opponent wielded only an ordinary saber. Come. Chae Na-yoon didn't rush. Instead, she swung her sword from a distance. The longsword transformed into a 20-meter beam. But her opponent was no novice. He calmly blocked her sword and charged. Woong! As his saber shot toward her, Chae Na-yoon leaped high, nearly touching the clouds. From the sky, she switched to a reverse grip, preparing to strike down with a secret technique. Ha! With a roar, she descended. Objectively, it was just a jump and strike attack. Her opponent dodged easily, suspicious of its simplicity. But the real attack came next. Chae Na-yoon twisted her sword, still embedded in the ground, 90 degrees. Magic power erupted from the earth. What? The man couldn't react. A thunderous roar rang out. Cracks spread across the arena, and pillars of magic power shot up, each shaped like a sword. Swept away by the wave of sword pillars, the man was thrown back helplessly. Their battle ended in 3 breaths. Chae Na-yoon wins, the judge announced. Thank you for the lesson. Chae Na-yoon sheathed her sword and bowed. The man who'd been sent flying sat up and gave her a thumbs up. The spectators cheered. Yoo Si-hek watched Chae Na-yoon with a satisfied smile. Chae Na-yoon wiped sweat from her forehead and bowed to Yoo Si-hek. You've grown a lot. Yoo Si-hek was genuinely impressed. Chae Na-yoon was only 21 years old. She'd trained at Baekdu Mountain for just 2 years, but her growth outpaced anyone before her. She poured every free moment into sword and magic practice, finally defeating the instructor who'd taught her for 2 years. At the same time, Yoo Si-hek felt a bit sad. Like you said, you're more than ready to return to the secular world. Today, Chae Na-yoon was leaving Baekdu Mountain. She still had old grudges and debts to settle.
As her master, Yoo Si-hek wanted to hold her back. Though she'd grown strong, he knew her heart still wavered. But Chae Na-yoon was resolute. Quang! She set down her sheathed sword and bowed. Thank you for everything. Yoo Si-hek looked at her, dissatisfied. Then he asked one last question. Do you really plan on joining a guild? With Yoo Si-hek's recommendation, Chae Na-yoon could become a hero without an apprenticeship. But he knew her well. For her goals, being a mercenary might suit her better. Yes. Chae Na-yoon nodded firmly, her twisted smile bothering Yoo Si-hek. If you want, I can introduce you to the vast expanse. I will have to decline that offer. Why? You sure have many questions. What'd you say? Chae Na-yoon smirked. It's been my dream to become a hero, so it's only obvious. I don't want to give up on it with lame excuses. She remembered hearing it was foolish to give up a dream because of a man. She agreed completely. Out of spite, out of refusal to lose, she would become a hero. Fine, then pack your belongings and leave. I assume you can go down by yourself. Of course. Yushiuk turned away to hide his hurt. Chae Na-yoon stayed bowed until his office door closed. Gung! You're the best, Uni. That was amazing, Nuna. After waving to the younger disciples who idolized her, she returned to her room. After 2 years, she'd grown used to this place. Let's see, what do I need to pack? She opened her suitcase and looked around. She hadn't brought much, so there wasn't much to pack. Then she noticed a pack of cigarettes on her desk. How many did I smoke today? She tilted her head, put one in her mouth, and lit it. Ow, so bitter. She could never get used to the acrid smell. Her body just wasn't suited to smoking. Even so, she smoked 3 times a day. It felt like her duty. So she wouldn't forget. So time wouldn't erode her resolve. So she wouldn't forgive subconsciously. For these reasons, she endured the hated smell 3 times a day. Eh? While looking around, she spotted a gaming helmet in her drawer. A bitter laugh escaped her. She remembered playing with it 4 years ago. To reminisce, she picked up the helmet. She put out her cigarette and lay on the bed. Tok, tok. She pressed the helmet's button. It still worked. Should I give it a try? She put it on for the first time in years. The iris scanners activated, and the world went dark. The iris scan has been completed. Na-yoon Jajangman-shi, welcome back. Yeah, hi. She didn't plan to play, just to reminisce. But as she logged in, an alert appeared. Today is the last day of service for Gladiator of the Century. We would like to give a warm thanks to all the support you have given us over the years. Eh? The game she once loved had reached its end. It couldn't withstand the test of time. Feeling bittersweet, Chae Na-yoon logged in. I logged in one last time, TTP. Me too. I used to love this game. Is anyone from the Hero Clan? The lobby was full of people reminiscing. Should I play it one last time? She checked her friends list, wondering if anyone was online. Ah, there she found someone who was more a memory than a friend. Extra 7, currently online. A smile appeared. She opened the private message window, but seeing their old conversation, her face stiffened, embarrassed and annoyed. Ow, you crazy idiot loser. She was about to delete the message log, but stopped. Though she couldn't bear to see her younger self's immature words, she knew they'd disappear once the service ended. They'll disappear even if I don't erase them. Telling herself so, she slowly typed a message. Hyungnim? Are you awake? I was lying in bed. Recently, there wasn't much to do. The laptop update was still ongoing, and the next episode was a while away. So, I spent my days training and watching dramas and variety shows. I'd gotten used to this lifestyle. Oh, right. I noticed the VR helmet by my bed. Thinking I could watch a sleep-inducing video, I put it on. As soon as I entered the lobby, an alert popped up. Today is the last day of service for Gladiator of the Century. We would like to give a warm thanks to all the support you have given us over the years. So this is disappearing too. I realized how much time had passed. I remember playing this game a lot, even making a friend. I'd never said goodbye, just stopped playing when I got busy. Curious, I logged in. A lot changed, huh? I was placed in a waiting room that didn't exist before. The developers had tried everything to keep up. I looked around, reminiscing about old features and noticing new ones. Hyungnim? Are you awake? Ding! A message popped up. The sender was Nayun Jajangman. I immediately remembered the past. To be honest, I was happy. My drowsiness vanished. Yeah, I'm awake. It's been a while, man. I think so too. Oh. After 4 years, his way of talking had changed. He seemed more mature. It made sense. He had to be an adult now. Do you want to play a match? Nayun Jajangman asked. Match? Yep. Sure. As I pressed buttons to host a room, I paused. I used to be his master. I didn't want to lose so easily. Let me re-log in real quick. I took off my helmet. Scan. Then, I logged back in after consolidating my helmet. Extra 7. Go? Go. The match began after a brief exchange. I had a saber and shield, and while my old master, Extra 7, had an axe and shield. The controls felt odd after so long, but I thought my sharper senses and experience would make up for it. Boom! Extra 7's axe struck my shield, pushing me back against the wall. I rolled aside, dodging his follow-up. Boom! He attacked my face with his shield. Damn it! I tried to counterattack after barely dodging. Whoosh! But my character shot into the air from his sudden somersault. That was it. I was hit and killed with a 108-hit combo in the air. The first set was a complete loss. How the hell was that combo? Jesus! I laughed in disbelief. My old master was still worthy of the title. He's so good! The second set began as soon as I finished murmuring. This time, I took it seriously and switched to longsword. Victory! I almost lost. Nayun Jajangman was much better than before, or maybe I'd gotten worse. Either way, her sharp and reckless counterattacks were hard to handle. Thank you for the match. I see that you're just as good as before. As soon as the match ended, Nayun Jajangman messaged me. You improved a lot. Did you continue playing? No, what about you? I didn't play either. I just logged in after hearing the service was ending soon. Wow, then you must be super talented. I'm impressed, young Neem. Put your words away. His words made me laugh. The kid who once asked for dating advice was now a full-fledged adult. Young Neem, are you currently active? Right? Jajangman suddenly asked a strange question. Active? That could mean a lot of things in this world. Well, I guess you could say that. What about you? Did he become a mercenary too? I'm not active yet, but I will be soon. Oh, are you a trainee? Something like that. I see. So that's why he was so serious. Good luck. Thank you. Don't you think we'll meet one day? I smiled. Whether you're an apprentice hero or mercenary, I'm not someone you can meet so easily anymore. Maybe, if you continue to work hard. I see. Apparently, the service is ending soon. KK. I got an alert too. The service will end in 30 seconds. I smiled bitterly and slowly typed my goodbye. Good luck. Be happy. Jajangman replied instantly. It's too late for me, but be happy too, Hyungnim. I wanted to reply. I didn't know what happened, but I couldn't bear to see a kid so hopeless. But before I could type anything, my surroundings changed. The service has ended. We offer our greatest gratitude to all users who supported Gladiator of the Century. Goodbye. Only the developer's final messages remained before me.
Chapter 152, 2029, April 3rd. In the Chameleon Troop's secret hideout, located in England's Bristol Channel, I was fully relaxed, reading a newspaper on the couch. Next to me, Boss was playing a game. English Royal Court Guild partners with mercenary groups. English Channel's high intermediate rank monster, Megalodon, has been defeated by English Royal Court Guild's Team 1. Rachel, the guild's youngest team leader, shows her exceptional skills. Princess Rachel appointed as the Royal Court Guild's youngest vice leader. Trust in England at an all-time low.
Currently, the popularity of England's leadership was steadily declining. Ordinary newspapers and even the Violet Times predicted a grim future for the country. Looking at the headline, I sighed and put down the newspaper. The news I was hoping to see was nowhere to be found. Feeling a bit sore, I stood up and stretched. Then I looked around the Chameleon Troop's hideout, which was about 65% complete. A lot had changed in the past 3 years. In a way, it was quite traumatic. To be honest, I was proud of the changes I brought. The dome ceiling above had crystal chandeliers and gem-like lights hanging beautifully. The red vintage-style walls were full of art Boss brought back from her secret stash. It wasn't just the interior I was proud of. The hideout had many convenient facilities. The Goblin coffee shop in the corner of the lobby provided the highest-grade coffee, and many of my magical furniture pieces were also placed around the hideout. In the center, what was that again? A massive mana crystal, almost as big as Chuck Jung-young's thigh, was purifying the air inside the cave. For the record, that almond-shaped crystal was something I took from Boss's secret vault. I remembered Boss throwing a tantrum about not wanting to keep it. She reluctantly agreed when I threatened that I wouldn't comb her hair ever again. However, that was still only the tip of the iceberg. What I just described was only the hideout's lobby. Outside the lobby, there was a hot spring, a shooting range, a training room, a library, a game room, a cafeteria, and more. Gah! The door to the lobby suddenly shot open and a giant stormed in. Boss, who was playing a game on the couch, looked up with a frown. "It's crazy out there, Boss. Did something happen outside?" "Oh, newbie, you're here too." Chuck Jung-young smiled brightly as he held up something. It was a sea monster twice the size of his body. "Monsters underwater are going crazy!" "Young, what is that?" "A sea monster. This blind bastard kept bumping into me, so I hooked it up. It's a blue ocean fish." Blue ocean fish. It was a delicious species of fish, classified as a fish rather than a monster. Hearing these 3 words, Boss smacked her lips. Then she glanced up at me. She was clearly telling me to cook it for her. Blue ocean fish, huh? I started cooking for Boss 3 months ago, mostly because controlling her with just combing her hair could get difficult. Like how the monkey in the story of The Monkey's Flower Sandal grew too used to wearing sandals, my strategy was to slowly get Boss addicted to things I provided until she couldn't live without me. Not that Boss was a monkey, of course. "You know about it?" Chuck Jung-young laughed and threw the blue ocean fish down. For the record, other members didn't know I was good at cooking. Because I was too lazy to cook for everyone, I only revealed it to Boss. She considered it special treatment and enjoyed it. "You can keep this guy in the fridge and eat it later." Hearing his kind offer, I looked down at the blue ocean fish. I wasn't sure if it was still alive or spasming after death, but the way it violently flopped around was scary. "Boss, come out if you're bored. It's really fun." "I'm fine. You can enjoy it alone." "Hee, don't regret it later." Chuck Jung-young's latest hobby was fishing. Because using the portal was too troublesome, I created a secret pathway connecting the hideout to the ocean. Obviously, it was covered with illusion magic and a fortress-grade seal to prevent outsiders from recognizing it. Ever since Chuck Jung-young took a liking to it, he's been using it once a week to go fight sea monsters. I remember him saying something about wanting to overcome the restraint of the ocean. "Anyways, I'm going back out." "Coong!" He should really stop slamming the door. "Oh right, he almost forgot. Oi, Bling, give me an Americano." The barista goblin quickly reacted to Chuck Jung-young's command. As expected from a barista with a year's worth of experience, the goblin named Bling made an Americano in the blink of an eye. Perfect. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Chuck Jung-young emptied the 2-liter cup in only 3 seconds before leaving. "Guys," when I clapped, the 6 normal goblins gathered around the blue ocean fish. Kruk, krrrr. The goblins discussed which part of the fish to grab, then ended up equally putting it on their shoulders. "Newbie." Boss, who was watching from the couch silently, suddenly asked me. For some reason, she was already drooling. "Yes? When is breakfast?" Boss was honest when it came to food. In fact, most strong people were like that.
They could rein in their sexual desire or desire to sleep, but they couldn't withstand hunger because of their body's high metabolism. 30 minutes later. I see. Boss nodded with a look of anticipation. I grinned and turned on my smartwatch. Just in case, I checked Violent Banquet for any news on entrance tickets, but the only thing that popped up were tickets to amusement parks. Disappointed, I checked the trending topics. Fenrir seen for 6 months. Was he just another seasonal mercenary? There was another article about Fenrir. When I was active, they criticized me for using my gift for money, but now that I wasn't, they were berating me for a different reason. I skipped the article and checked the comments. Rachel0418. Then what, you expect a mercenary to work for free? I'm sure Fenrir is taking a rest because people like you keep bothering him. Pfft. As I expected, there was another comment from Rachel. Was she looking at online articles all the time? Click. I liked the comment without much thought. Then suddenly a light bulb went off in my head. Oh, right! The Royal Court Guild was fated to obtain entrance tickets faster than other guilds. When it came to entrance tickets, their rank was the most important. Still, it was nice to have extra tickets. Since I was also worried about England's situation, which was worse than what I predicted. Boss, I have an idea. Staring at Boss's eyes, I began to choose words for a negotiation. But regardless of what my idea was, Boss was likely to agree with the blue ocean fish being my negotiating tool. April. The Royal Court Guild greeted its new apprentice heroes. In any other year, England should be booming with tourists who would come to enjoy its beautiful spring.
The weather was great, but the Royal Court Guild's vice leader, Rachel, was sighing. I didn't learn any of this in Cube. She became the youngest vice leader because the previous vice leader was scouted by a guild in Korea. As the position was practically pushed onto her, she didn't know what to do with the heavy responsibility she now had. England and the Royal Court Guild situation was that bad. Rachel didn't blame the vice leader who ran away either. Rachel scrolled through the emails on her computer screen and sighed. Thank you for contacting Desolate Moon. We received the Royal Court Guild's request for aid, but military negotiations should be done through the association. The Royal Court Guild's requests for aid were all declined. Of course, as the above example showed, not all were flat-out rejections. In fact, most advised to request aid from the association. However, Rachel knew all too well what that meant. Once the association was brought in, the Royal Court Guild would lose too much influence and control. Just like how Roten Corporation schemed to take control over Clancy Islet, the association was likely to ask England for something similar. England couldn't afford to set its house on fire to catch a flea, though to flee was absurdly big. Sylvie, how many representatives are we scheduled to meet today? Rachel called her personal secretary. 13 in total. 11 of them are already waiting in the building. When the number of monsters exploded, the Royal Court Guild decided to partner with mercenary groups. It only made sense as they were separate from the association's influence. So most of them are here. Of course, as the number of monsters in England increased, the Royal Court Guild and its heroes would gain more experience. Then their guild ranking would naturally go up, and they would have more monster corpses to use for research and development. However, the question was whether England had the power to overcome the odds. Shall I send them in? Yes, one at a time. England, London outskirts. Ordinary citizens were full of tension as they walked around the streets. Nowadays, they didn't feel safe even in their country's capital. The monsters living in the River Thames were too ferocious. I'm going to leave the country for a while. Where are you going? Korea. My older brother has residency there. He's not in Seoul, but it should still be safer than here. I'm jealous. They didn't sound too hopeful either, as they worried about their country's future and their loved ones' safety. Almost as if to confirm their worries. Wing! Wing! The sirens suddenly went off, alerting that monsters had invaded.
At the same time, a manhole in the middle of the street shot open and monsters began to climb up. Sea moles, greed toads, giant catfish, and more. They were all low-rank to low-intermediate-rank monsters, but not only were they too much for ordinary civilians to deal with, there were just too many of them. Ugh! Ugh! Monsters that popped out of the manhole quickly took over the streets. Flashing their bloodthirsty eyes, they chased people who were running away. The civilians did all they could to avoid being devoured. However, without guns, even low-rank monsters were too much for ordinary people to handle. Ribbit! A greed toad jumped on top of a woman. Let me go! She punched the toad's face, but it was futile. The toad opened its mouth with a cheeky smile. It was then, boom! The toad's head exploded. Ugh, ugh. A mysterious attack saved the woman. Suddenly being covered with the fluids of a monster, the woman was unable to properly assess the situation, but knowing that she was saved, she began to escape. At that moment, another monster jumped towards her. This time it was a sea mole. Grrr! However, the sea mole's head exploded before it could even touch her. Seeing this, the woman finally realized that something was off. Other people who were running away had also stopped to stare behind her. The woman followed their line of sight and turned around. Streaks of light were raining down from the sky. It was a scene she had seen in a YouTube video. The bullets that obliterated monsters. This terrifying barrage of bullets was lighting up the sky as it annihilated hundreds of monsters. From the onset to the end, only 3 minutes passed. The screams of chaos ringing out from the streets were long gone. Wow! My God! The civilians were all staring at a single man who was sitting on a bike. Because of his helmet, no one could see his face. Vroom! His bike roared. While everyone stared at him in awe, he quickly disappeared. That must have been Fenrir! A mercenary who loved to slaughter monsters with a mystical gun. He was a mercenary who was famous even among ordinary people. Vice Leader's Office of the English Royal Court Guild. Rachel was currently in a meeting with representatives of mercenary groups. As you know, we achieved rank 10 in the most recent mercenary group rankings. Her first meeting was with the Skid Row mercenary group. The leader initiated the negotiation with a haughty attitude and tone. Albeit reluctant, this was something she could accept. But because he was asking for too much, she instantly rejected him despite the Royal Court Guild's current situation. I'm speechless. You can speak? How can you be so beautiful? Pardon? Her next meeting was with the Great Tiger Mercenary Group, which was around rank 14. Its leader was a man in his mid-30s, and he was interested in Rachel's appearance above anything else. Although he made it seem like it was a blind date, the conditions he offered were reasonable. England is in a bad spot, right? Of aerial, land, and sea monsters are accepted as the most difficult to deal with. Why don't you just ask the association for help? That's our own business. Are you looking down on mercenaries? You think we wouldn't understand just because we're uneducated? No. Just like that, Rachel continued her meetings. Many of the leaders were arrogant or foolish. Leaders from the higher-ranked mercenary groups were especially so. The leader of the world's rank 5 mercenary group was particularly distasteful. The way he ogled her with his lustful eyes made Rachel want to pull out her weapon. After a long time, the 13 meetings came to an end. She didn't feel that it was a waste of time. Rank 14 and rank 9 seemed to be reasonable. Vice Leader? At that moment, her secretary suddenly called her. Yes, what is it? Someone from another mercenary group just showed up. Weren't we done? We were, but this one claimed to be a mercenary and asked to meet the Vice Leader. Then why don't you just kick him out? I wanted to send him back, but he seems to be someone famous. Oh, I see. Do mercenaries get more arrogant with more fame? I didn't want to be biased for that sake of that person.
If he didn't contact us before, just let him in. It's not like I'll lose anything by seeing another person. Understood, the secretary replied. Rachel let out a deep sigh as she tapped on her desk. After about 5 minutes, tock, tock, someone knocked on her door. Come in. Rachel spoke with an exhausted voice. Keek. The door slowly opened, and heavy footsteps rang out. Rachel slowly raised her head. She saw the mercenary that just entered. It was a man clad entirely in black. His hair was in a clean pomade style, and his well-kempt beard made him particularly handsome. As soon as Rachel saw him, her eyes widened. It was only natural. Despite the slightly different aura he had, Rachel was too familiar with him. It's nice to meet you. The man greeted her casually with a charming baritone. Then he sat down in front of her naturally, exuding a pleasant scent. Because of their sudden reunion, Rachel was at a loss for words. Her voice didn't come out. Her 5 senses seemed to have frozen. I'm Geronomos Fenrir. Rachel was unable to tell whether the man knew of her plight. However, she saw the warm smile he had on his face.
Chapter 153. Tower of Heroes, 101st Floor. In an office created solely for Aileen, her office workers stared at a pile of documents. After painstaking effort, they had summarized countless documents to just 30 pages. All of these were related to a mysterious entity designated as Black Lotus. "This is all we have on him?" Aileen asked, glancing at the summarized documents. Black Lotus, the new black color of that group, had caught Aileen's attention. He was responsible for 11 terror incidents in Pandemonium. "Yes, we picked out the core information gathered from our informants who live in Pandemonium." Really? It sure is flawless. To make matters worse, Aileen already knew all these records, which were as simple as destruction completed with 1 arrow, Black Lotus symbol engraved on the ground, and so on. He always disappears immediately afterwards, so there's really no information about him. He might have a gift related to teleportation. Yeah. Aileen didn't pay attention to their excuses. It's my fault for expecting anything Wait a minute. A sudden light bulb went on in her head, and goosebumps rose on her skin. She widened her eyes and stared at her employees. He always leaves after 1 arrow? Then could she be the Divine Archer? Pardon? Divine Archer. You know, Jin Se-yun, the Divine Archer. It was a ridiculous claim. However, the office workers had trouble discerning whether Aileen was serious. After staring at her expression for a while, they shook their heads. There's no way it can be Jin Se-yun. She should be busy doing volunteer work. Right? I was kidding too. Aileen quickly changed her tone. Jin Se-yun, the Divine Archer. She was a master rank hero titled the God of the Bow. It was worth noting that she was only rank 70, putting her on the bubble when it came to master rank territory. Furthermore, she had retired from active duty and only showed up every once in a while in North Africa. By the way, why is she even doing volunteer work? The office workers saved their breath. Jin Se-yun was an idol to people in their early 20s to 30s. Her kind heart and righteous deeds melted the hearts of men, and her upright personality and popularity made her a master rank hero. I just don't understand. Why did the association put her in the master rank class? Aileen expressed her displeasure. Members of the Temple of Justice were excluded from the association's ranking system, but Jin Se-yun's master rank designation was always a point of contention. Aileen acknowledged that Jin Se-yeon was the best archer. The question was why Jin Se-yeon was a master rank hero rather than Yoo Jin-woong. "I'd win if I thought her too." Grumbling unhappily, Aileen suddenly got curious. Like asking which side would win in a fight between a tiger and a lion, it was an instinctive curiosity that any human would have. After mulling over the question for a while, Aileen turned her gaze to the office workers. "Girls, how strong do you think he is?" I'm not sure. Can you elaborate?" Try estimating his rank. How do you think he fares compared to Jin Se-yeon?" Hearing Aileen's explanation, the 4 office workers fell into thought. Although they were elites who graduated from top universities and passed the association's difficult tests, they were still incapable of answering whether a lion or a tiger would win in a fight. Black Lotus probably didn't use 100% of his strength, right?" the youngest office worker asked. It was a sharp question. Aileen rubbed her chin and mulled over it. Black Lotus's arrow was undoubtedly powerful. There wasn't a single target he couldn't destroy with one arrow. Let me think. In reality, archers had difficulty amplifying the power of a single arrow. At the same time, it was what they desired most, as archers wanted to finish off their enemies in one blow. Otherwise, their location would be found out. Without a warrior to protect them, they would then be in great danger. There was a reason archers had trouble doing this. Pouring too much magic power into a magic arrow made its form fainter and harder to control. In order to properly control their magic arrows, archers had to limit their power. 40%. However, Black Lotus always managed to obliterate his target with one arrow. This meant his control of his arrow was superb, which also meant he didn't use his full power. Maybe it's only 20 to 30%. That's small? The surprised office worker voiced her doubt. For Black Lotus to have only used 20 to 30% of his power, the results he showed were too brilliant. He had destroyed a tower that could have withstood most explosions, and a hideout with a high-rank barrier surrounding it. He had even assassinated an executive of Pandemonium's Rank 10 private organization. If you're going to doubt me, don't ask in the first place. Aileen looked down at their doubts. As far as she was concerned, they were bookworms who rarely saw the world outside their desks. No, I apologize. Hey, you, continue with what you were saying before." The flustered office worker quickly retracted her words and yelled at the youngest office worker who spoke before. Yes, so assuming that we've only seen 25% of Black Lotus's full strength." The youngest office worker furiously typed on her laptop, performing complex calculations. When she arrived at the answer, her face turned pale. What? Hurry up and say it." "Well, in terms of numbers, he's at the level of a master rank hero." Really?" "Yes, the estimated value of the magic power explosion he caused is similar to divine archer Jin Se-yeon's crystal arrow which she used to defeat the basilisk 3 years ago." "Oh, where did she learn how to do this?" Aileen smiled. "That's interesting. Remember, this is only theory." "Still, it's interesting." Aileen was suddenly filled with anticipation. 2 archers aiming their bows at each other, letting go of the bowstrings in high tension, 2 arrows shining in different colors and flying towards each other, and the final clash. Frankly, she hoped Jin Se-yeon would lose. Aileen didn't like women who always acted kind, noble, and refined. "All right, that's it for today. You can all go home." "Yes. Thank you. See you tomorrow." Yeah, see ya." Aileen was certainly a boss with many complaints and outbursts. However, she was still popular with her subordinates because she let them go home early. Rachel had changed a lot in 3 years. She now had a perfect V-line after losing her baby fat, and her innocent eyes looked more mature. Was it because of all the troubles she faced? She had a thin dark circle on both her eyes, but even that looked charming on her. It's been a while. Rachel stuttered. Although many things had changed, her voice was still the same. Yeah.
I replied simply. Then I purposely stayed silent. I was curious how she would react. Her fidgeting hands were toying with her computer mouse. Seeing this awkward side of her, I couldn't help but laugh. Why aren't you talking? Is it because I came too late?
Yes?
No, that's not it. Rachel suddenly froze and looked straight at me. Meeting her eyes, I waited for her next words. Your beard. You grew it out. However, what came out of her mouth was something I didn't expect. Oh, this? I rubbed my chin. I had a cool nickname like Fenrir, but because Evandel kept making me look younger, I grew out my beard. In a way, I looked like a Western movie star. Oh, and for the record, it wasn't a goatee. A famous barber trimmed it for me. Does it look weird? I found the son of the master barber I met in the past. Although he wasn't as skilled as his father, he was also working as a barber. No, it looks great. That's nice to hear. Thanks to him, I was under a 0.4-point charm buff. Since I was meeting Rachel for the first time in years, I put in some extra effort. Anyways, I'll shave it off soon. Eh? No, it really looks nice on you. Really! Rachel waved her hands and I smiled. Sometimes when I saw myself in the mirror, I arrogantly thought I looked like Jake Gyllenhaal. But because Evandel didn't like it, I planned to cut it off soon. Anyways, I heard you were taking a break from mercenary work. Rachel carefully changed the subject. I've been busy with other things. For the past 6 months, I was focused on the Chameleon Troop's missions. Robbing a rich djinn, hunting a jewel whale in the deep Pacific, destroying hideouts of Pandemonium's organizations, and so on. I tried to make the Chameleon Troop attack djinns as much as possible. Well, we can catch up on personal matters later. For now, let's talk about our partnership. Yes. Wait, partnership? Rachel's eyes widened. Of course, that's why I'm here. I smiled. Don't you remember? I said we'd probably work together through a mercenary partnership. Right, I remember. It didn't look like she remembered, but she nodded excitedly anyway. It's coming back to me. It was really sunny that day. It was raining. I narrowed my eyes and glared at her. Right, it was raining. I got confused for a moment. I'm kidding, it was sunny. Sunny? Or maybe I'm remembering wrong. In the end, Rachel closed her mouth and glared at me while pouting. I'm just joking. Here are our conditions. Take a look. I took out the contract I brought and gave it to her. Rachel picked it up respectfully. Geronimo Mercenary's conditions were as follows. 1. The Royal Court Guild is not to interfere in Geronimo business. 2. England is to provide information on all dungeons within its territory. If the Royal Court Guild conquers a dungeon, all acquired loot is to be revealed to Geronimo Mercenary. 3. Geronimo Mercenary is to have first priority in purchasing loot acquired from dungeons. 4. There were only 6 clauses in total. After carefully reading each clause, Rachel looked up. If you agree to these terms, we can help England deal with its monster crisis. We'll be forming an official partnership. Partnership! Rachel's eyes immediately lit up. Royal Court Guild forms partnership with Geronimo Mercenary. How did England move Geronimo? Fenrir slaughters thousands of sea monsters in 1 hour. As soon as the news went out that the Royal Court Guild partnered with Geronimo, the international community blew up. Headlines all over the world reported on England and Geronimo's new relationship, and the Royal Court Guild stocks skyrocketed. The Prime Minister even invited Geronimo's mercenary leader, Jane in disguise, to a banquet. Additionally, Rachel was appointed as the successor to the guild leader for her achievement in this negotiation. Of course, there was also a fair amount of negative rumors, particularly about sexual favors. Anyways, a month flew by. England's situation had mostly calmed down, but it was hard to say it was all thanks to Geronimo Mercenary.
Geronimo Mercenary only had 24 members. Even then, they were all fake identities, and there were only 5 to 6 active members. However, the goal of this partnership was to destroy the monsters' habitats. Once the habitats were destroyed, monsters would naturally stop reproducing, and over time, the increased monster count would naturally dwindle. In only a month, Geronimo destroyed 6 habitats of sea monsters, a feat Chak Jungyang achieved alone. I only had to tell him where a monster habitat was, and Chak Jungyang would run over and destroy everything in sight. As an ally, Chak Jungyang couldn't be more reliable. I'm glad it was resolved without any civilian casualties. I agree. Currently, I was walking with Rachel along the English Channel's beach. We arrived here just 10 minutes ago after a report that a large number of carnivorous tunas appeared. By the way, I'm going to make you pay for my bullets. Using the heavy machine gun mode, I took care of everything in just 7 minutes. Since we had time left over, we went on a stroll on the beach. Rachel was still reticent. She strolled silently as she watched the waves glistening under the sun with a relaxed smile. Feeling a bit bored, I put my finger up to my face. It was then, oh, right. Pook! Rachel suddenly turned around, making my finger poke her cheek. Rachel froze and stared at my finger. Then she stared at me, asking for an explanation. Anyways, Rachel C., or rather, Vice Leader, I pulled my finger back and asked as if nothing had happened. The Royal Court Guild conquered several dungeons in the past few months. Have you gotten any paper as loot? Paper? Yes, something that looks like an entrance ticket. A piece of paper that looked like a ticket and shown in different colors. This was not an ordinary piece of paper, nor was it a ticket to an amusement park. It was the entrance ticket to the Tower of Wish, the next major episode. I don't think so, Rachel replied after mulling it over for a moment, and I shook my head regrettably. Then we went back to strolling. Vrr! Suddenly, my smartwatch rang. It was loud enough for Rachel to hear as well. I quickly looked down at my watch. The laptop update has been completed.
Chapter 154. The laptop update has been completed. Stigma recovery rate has been increased. You receive 3 points. A few functionalities have been added. Overclocking. Using your vitality as cost, you can temporarily boost Stigma's power. The boosted amount will depend on the amount of vitality used. Note, you can die from using all of your vitality. Equipment link. Linked equipment cannot be used by anyone else. You can operate linked equipment with your will. Spatial modification. You can now modify environmental settings. However, the specified environment must be limited in scope. 1000 SP has been consumed for the update. Current SP, 3053. Variable stats. Usable points, 3. Strength, 6.4 plus 6.000. Stamina, 6.435 plus 6.000. Speed, 8.655 plus 6.000. Perception, 9.235 plus 6.000. Vitality, 6.105 plus 6.000. Magic power, 3. Stat increase from magic dysfunction physique has reached its limit, plus 6.000. Invariable stats. Intelligence, 4.470 out of 10. Perseverance, 7.207 plus 0.5 out of 10. Luck, 9.100 out of 10. Charm, 5.535 plus 0.4 out of 10. Gift, 1. Master Sharpshooter. Intermediate rank, Spirit Attribute. Evolving, Grade 4, Proficiency XP 87%. 2. Random Consolidation System. Low intermediate rank, 3-stage consolidation. 3. Dexterity.
Low intermediate rank, null attribute, evolving, grade 5, proficiency XP 51%. Physique, 2/3. 1. Magic dysfunction physique. 2. Medicinal memory physique. Art, 2/3. 1. Parkour. 2. Charming voice. The information I'd been dying to know finally appeared. For the 3 years that the laptop was updating, I could still modify the settings of objects and see their information, but I couldn't see my status other than my gift. In other words, I was seeing my stats for the first time in 3 years. The heck? My charm stat was only 5.535? Aesthetic greed raised charm by 0.002 point every 24 hours, up to a maximum of 1 point. I also made sure to use random consolidation system on Aether every day, so my charm increase should have been much bigger. Well, I guess that's how it got to 5.535. Since it was originally around 4.1, and assuming I was getting an average of 40% on each consolidation, 5.535 points makes sense. For the record, I used 1500 SP 1 year ago to raise random consolidation system's maximum limit to 54%. But even with all that, and the charm buff I got from the barber, my charm stat was only 5.935. For some reason, I felt a bit bitter. Jake Gyllenhaal, you're too far away. Of course, I wasn't being all that serious. It was just a little self-evaluation that everyone does at least once in their life. What's wrong? Seeing me staring at my smartwatch in a daze, Rachel asked. I replied with a smile. Let's go back now. Rachel tilted her head, not knowing what happened. Meanwhile, I tried using one of the laptop's new functions. I clicked on the Equipment Link button that was newly placed in my smartwatch. After scrolling through the list of available equipment I owned, I clicked on a picture of a motorcycle. Kim Hajin's Augusta Vigilante has been found. Equipment link complete. Augusta Vigilante will now move according to Kim Hajin's mail. I tried to send a thought. Come to me. Come to me. After about a minute, the motorcycle drove up to me with a cool engine sound. Interesting. Without much thought, I got on. Wait! A sudden powerful hand grabbed my arm. It was Rachel. What's wrong? Hajin, wait a minute. Huh? Rachel pointed at my bike, shuddering slightly. Didn't you park your motorcycle by the road? Yes, I did. But who is it? As soon as I said a few words, Rachel pulled out Gallatin. Hello! Shh! I think it's an assassin. That motorcycle just drove here on its own. She murmured in shock as she held her sword up. Her sword shone with a golden light. Show yourself. Her voice carried a hint of killing intent. But of course, no one answered. Rachel then repeated the same words in English. Show yourself. Stop hiding like a coward. Rachel was shadowboxing with an invisible enemy, but she seemed certain of her suspicion. From the looks of it, she must have experienced similar situations many times before. How many assassination attempts did she go through to react like this? I couldn't help but feel sorry. However, I just continued and got on my motorcycle. Hajin, that motorcycle is dangerous. Don't worry, it's a self-driving vehicle. Look, I willed the motorcycle to move. At the same time, I voiced a command for Rachel. Make a circle around us. Vroom, vroom. The motorcycle began to run through the sand at a frightening speed. Meanwhile, Rachel stared at the motorcycle in a daze. Her pupils were shaking. I understand. Technology has improved a lot in recent years. Just don't fall behind the times too much. Rachel was at a loss for words from embarrassment. She covered her face with her hands and shook her head fiercely. What saved her from her embarrassment was a sudden call. Dee-dee-dee. Wait a minute. I need to take this. Hello? Rachel walked away, using the call as an excuse. The call didn't last long, and she quickly came back with a serious face. Hajin, yes? Apparently, strange papers came out of the dungeon we conquered. 1 week later, May Guild Rankings. The English Royal Court Guild on the rise. Essence of the Strait maintaining rank 1 for 3 months consecutively. Creators Sacred Grace on the verge of revival. Kim Soo-ho and Yi Han-han. The world of heroes is watching them. Inside a luxury limousine, Yu Yanha was reading the Violet Times along with an ordinary newspaper. For some reason, Yu Yanha was pouting. She was jealous. The English Royal Court Guild entered the top 20 with the help of Geronino, but this partnership was something Yu Yanha wanted for Essence of the Strait. She just never had the chance to bring it up with Kim Hajin. We're here. The limousine stopped. Yu Yanha glanced outside the window. She could see a luxury cruise ship anchored at Han River's dock. Today, she had planned a gathering for noble society. Thank you. I will be waiting nearby. All right. Yu Yanha got off. Tack, tack. Walking in high heels she was now used to, she arrived at the entrance to the cruise ship. The ship's guards recognized her and let her in without verifying her identity. Yu Yanha then walked on board. Huh? Yu Yanha scanned the deck and quickly noticed a guest who had arrived early.
This guest was leaning on the deck's railing and staring intently at something. Yu Yanha held her bitter heart and slowly walked up to her. Nayun? Wah! Startled, the guest turned off her smartwatch. The girl unnaturally leaning against the railing was Che Nayun. Well, hi. What were you doing? Yu Yanha glanced at Che Nayun's smartwatch. Nothing. Although that was what Che Nayun said, Yu Yanha quickly found out about it through her own smartwatch. Master, a user by the nickname I'm Gosuda requested for a background check on Kim Hajin as well as his current whereabouts. For now, we've put the request on hold. Yu Yanha read the message and looked back up at Che Nayun. Hui, hui. She was whistling with a cold sweat. Yu Yanha forced herself to smile. She had already heard rumors that Che Nayun was looking to investigate Kim Hajin. She also knew that Che Nayun was scammed a dozen times because of her low, violent banquet rank. Do you want to come inside? I prepared a private room. Yeah. Yu Yanha led Che Nayun to a private room she prepared for her close friends. What is this place for? We can hang out here. You don't like parties anyway, right? The other guys will come soon. I see. Pool, VR, bowling, darts. The room was full of games. Che Nayun sat down on the couch without much thought. Oh right, what's on my name tag? Then she asked Yu Yanha. Name tag? Yeah, over here it says Executor. Shouldn't it say Low Intermediate Hero? Essence of the Straits Hero, Che Nayun. Executor. Oh, that. Executor was a new title Yu Yanha created for Che Nayun. Although Che Nayun easily surpassed low intermediate rank heroes in power, she couldn't be promoted due to a lack of results. The association classifies heroes based on a rank and a grade, but I don't plan on following their system indefinitely. I tried creating one myself. In reality, not many people were happy with the association's rank and grade system. Thus, Yu Yanha created new titles to match heroes' diverse characteristics. For now, she had 5 titles: Executor, Destroyer, Guardian, etc. Of these, the Executor title was the highest. Yep, that would be the rank most team leaders are in. Oh, that's surprisingly good. Toc toc. At that moment, a knock rang out from the door. Guests have arrived. Looks like they're here. Yu Yanha smiled at Che Nayun. Yeah. Che Nayun nodded nonchalantly. Come in. With Yu Yanha's invitation, the door opened and 3 familiar faces walked in. Shin Jong-hak, Kim Soo-ho, and Yi Young-han. They were 3 superstars who had risen to fame at only 21 years old. Hey, it's been a while. Kim Soo-ho waved his hand with a bright smile. Move it. Whoa!
Shin Jang-hak pushed Kim Soo-ho aside and stood in front of Chae Na-yeon. "How have you been?" His voice was wistful and emotional. Yu Yen-ha shook her head as she watched Shin Jang-hak. So. What about you? You look even more creepy now." "That's a funny way to say I'm handsome. You crazy?" "I'm so tired." Yi Young-han ignored Chae Na-yeon and Shin Jang-hak and trudged up to the couch. After flopping down on his back, he wriggled around like a giant cockroach and murmured, "Creator's sacred grace is too cutthroat. They're sending me to 3 dungeons a month. Didn't you say you wanted to go? You said you wanted to buy that Lamborghini something." Feeling guilty, Kim Soo-ho poked Yi Young-han's back as he muttered back, "It's Lamborghini. Oi, team leader Kim, do you think you'll be safe if I report you to the association for overworking me?" "Oh, please. You got what you wanted, right?" "I did put in an order." Kim Soo-ho had already become a team leader. Yi Young-han was a member of his team. When there was a big difference in rank between 2 people who joined a company or guild at the same time, there were often minor tensions that broke out between them. But there was nothing of the sort between Yi Young-han and Kim Soo-ho. "Chae Na-yeon, do you want to spar later?" "Sure, but I'm letting you know you might lose." "We'll see." While Chae Na-yeon and Shin Jang-hak were planning a spar, Yi Young-han turned on the huge flat-screen TV on the wall. "Emergency report." "Huh? What's up?" "There's apparently an emergency." The sudden news report grabbed the attention. A mysterious tower has appeared in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. This tower of unprecedented size seems to have risen from the deep sea. Nearby sea monsters are also reported to be acting more violent. At the same time, after hearing about the emergency report, Yoon Sung-ah quickly turned on the TV. A mysterious tower has appeared in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. A newly discovered tower was being shown on TV. What the hell? Yoon Sung-ah was almost shocked to the point of fainting. Just 10 minutes ago, Violet Banquet had no reports about a new tower. The fact that there was little delay between the release of information to the public and Violet Banquet indicated that this was sudden and completely unexpected. There is currently nothing known about this tower. It seems to have risen from the deep-sea earthquake that occurred 8 minutes ago. Yoon Sung-ah stared at the tower in a daze. She could only think about one thing. That was the only scenario in which Creator's sacred grace could revive perfectly. The only way for Creator's sacred grace to reclaim the coveted rank 1 spot. Chameleon's troop hideout. Comfortable. Comfortable space. You will become rejuvenated the more you stay here. Staying here for more than 8 hours will cleanse your mind. Staying here for more than 24 hours will make you happy. Staying here for more than 96 hours will increase all stats by 0.5 point at most. What a great air. The area's high mana density keeps the air fresh. Staying here for more than 8 hours will cure light illnesses. As shown above, Chameleon's troop hideout was turned from hell to heaven. 4 members of the troop, Setrin, Jane, Boss, and Chuk Jung-kyung, were now living here. Sitting on the couch I made, I was watching TV. There is currently nothing known about this tower. It seems to have risen from the deep-sea earthquake that occurred 8 minutes ago. The Heroes Association has already deployed investigators, but because of how deep the tower reaches, it is thought to be impossible to enter the tower in a normal way. The Tower of Wish. A tower so huge it seemed to contain all of humanity's hopes, wishes, and resentments. "Oh, what's that?" Setrin, who was in the middle of receiving a back massage from the goblins, asked. "Newbie, is the entrance ticket you were talking about?" On the other hand, Jane turned to me with widened eyes. She really had sharp senses. "Yep," I nodded. "Currently I have an entrance ticket in hand. It was the ticket into the Tower of Wish. The entrance ticket I had was an orange tier ticket. Let me see." Jane took the entrance ticket. "What is it? Let me take a look too." Boss woke up from her nap and glanced up at the entrance ticket.
Jane read the words written on the back of the ticket. By having this ticket in your possession, you can enter a designated place on a promised date. The promised date is July 1st. After July 1st, all entrance tickets will disappear and new tickets will be issued.
The next promised date will be September 1st. Note: participants entering this place will undergo a small balance change to even the playing field. Oh, this sounds fun. Little apprentice, are you going to use this? No. Entrance tickets had different tiers. Although the orange tier was above average, it wasn't the one I wanted. Why not? This color isn't the one I want. Color? Yep. Entrance tickets had the following tiers. White. There was no benefit to having a white ticket. Consequently, white tickets were even rarer than red tickets. Green. Green ticket owners could choose the difficulty level of the tower's tutorial. Yellow. In addition to green tickets' benefits, yellow ticket owners were also given an additional tutorial-only food supply. Orange. In addition to yellow tickets' benefits, orange ticket owners could receive a basic weapon. Red. In addition to orange tickets' benefits, red ticket owners could choose one companion to enter together. Of course, they could enter alone if they wished. I'm looking for a black ticket. The entrance ticket I wanted was black. Without the black ticket, there was no reason to enter the tower early. Black? Boss asked. Yes, black. The black ticket worked a bit differently than other tickets. Black ticket owners didn't receive benefits from the previous tiered tickets. In fact, they could only choose the highest difficulty tutorial. In this sense, they were at a disadvantage. However, the black ticket had a benefit that far outweighed its disadvantages. Skill. The concept of skills didn't exist in this world. However, it existed in the Tower of Wish. If used properly, you could win against someone you normally would never beat and achieve a goal that would be impossible in the real world. That is why it was called the Tower of Wish. In a way, this tower was a chance for those abandoned by heaven to shine. In that regard, the black ticket was the VVIP ticket. Entering the Tower of Wish with a black ticket, I would obtain a bonus skill at no cost. Black ticket? Yep. Do color of tickets matter? How do you know that in the first place? I have a good source of information. That said, I don't know too much about it either. The distribution of entrance tickets had already begun. They could appear anywhere. Sandboxes children played in, corpses of monsters killed by hunters, treasure chests found in dungeons. And on the promised date, these tickets would become portals linked to the Tower of Wish. Even if you have a good source of information, it's only been... No, never mind, I won't nitpick. Thank you. It's my policy to not nag. I see. So, did we hear anything from Pandemonium? Because of the series of terror incidents, there were many organizations in Pandemonium who were fearful of the Chameleon Troupe. Using this to my advantage, I made an open declaration that I would reconsider attacking them if they offered any entrance tickets they found. Nothing so far. The moment Jane shook her head. Whoom. Her smartwatch suddenly rang. Jane looked down at her watch without a change of her possession. No. I could tell that my luck was working in full. I just received a message. Apparently, these guys found a ticket. Jing. Jane projected the picture of the entrance ticket someone sent. Ha ha. A smile emerged on my face. The black ticket inside the hologram was just as beautiful as I thought. Chapter 155. Pandemonium's 30th ranked private organization, Hounds of the Demon Realm. Its executive, Kim Gu-hwan, walked with stifling nervousness. He was so dazed that he barely knew where he was, focused only on following the puppet ahead and not straying from the path. After about 30 minutes, clunk, the puppet stopped and pointed deep into a desolate alleyway. Kim Gu-hwan nodded, taking a deep breath. The puppet soon disappeared, and Kim Gu-hwan entered the alleyway. There he found a portal created with magic power. Gulp. He swallowed hard. Beyond this portal,
The ones who shook all of Pandemonium were waiting for him. Still, Kim Gu-hwan clenched his fists and stepped into the portal with courage. He felt himself traveling through space. Chua! Was it the sound of leaves rustling or waves crashing? He opened his eyes in an unknown place. You're here? In a dark space, an excited voice rang out from a dilapidated staircase. Kim Gu-hwan looked up and saw an Eastern woman with white hair. The mysterious woman greeted him. Hi. Yes, it's an honor to meet you. My name is Kim Gu-hwan. He tried to maintain his composure, but sweat poured from his face and his breathing grew rough. Where's the item? Here. He felt dizzy, as if he might faint. Thankfully, he had practiced what to say and do over 100 times. Kim Gu-hwan reached into his pocket and took out a ticket. Even while showing respect, he didn't display weakness or submission. No. Pardon? The woman didn't take the ticket. I won't be taking it. There's someone else who wants it. Although Kim Gu-hwan hadn't expected this, he quickly adapted. Yes, understood. He stepped back and waited. Oh, there he is. Tup, tup. Footsteps echoed in the empty space. Kim Gu-hwan turned toward the sound. At first, he thought a shadow was approaching, but soon realized it was a man dressed entirely in black. Kim Gu-hwan stared at the man calmly. Unlike the woman, he gave off no imposing aura or pressure. However, I heard you guys call him Lotus. The woman's next words froze Kim Gu-hwan in place. He stared at the man walking toward him, unable to breathe as if being choked. A ghastly aura seemed to emanate from the man's slow steps, though it was only a hallucination. Black Lotus, the man who destroyed several towers and hideouts with a single attack, and even assassinated an executive of blood poison, Pandemonium's rank 10 organization. Now, this man stood only a foot away. Kim Gu-hwan felt a chill run down his spine. He needed to introduce himself, but his mouth wouldn't move. Though his face was covered by a black mask and hoodie, his eyes seemed to pierce through everything. What's wrong? He's waiting. Here you go. Kim Gu-hwan snapped out of his daze and handed the item to the man in black. The man stared at the ticket, then took it from Kim Gu-hwan's hands. Kim Gu-hwan gulped and waited for the man's next move. Suddenly, he raised his hand. Was he unhappy with something? Kim Gu-hwan couldn't close his eyes. He simply stood in terror, waiting for the man's hand to behead him. Tuck. The man placed his hand on Kim Gu-hwan's shoulder. Tuck, tuck. Then, he lightly patted him a couple of times, almost as if giving a compliment. For a moment, Kim Gu-hwan forgot who he was, where he was, and what he was doing. After barely holding on to consciousness for a long time, thud. Kim Gu-hwan fainted and collapsed to the ground. What happened? The person most confused was the man who praised Kim Gu-hwan. Kim Hajin. After the exchange, I returned to Chameleon Troop's hideout. Is that what you wanted? Jane canceled her disguise and asked. Yes, but I thought about the man who fainted from a single compliment. Jane seemed to understand my worries and smiled playfully. You can add that to your resume. To be honest, my notoriety in Pandemonium was too much. People became fearful, especially after I killed Blood Poison's executive. In my defense, that executive wasn't physically powerful. He was decent with magic, but his real strength was his unusual craftiness and cleverness. Oh, by the way, can I enter the tower too if I have a ticket? Yep, you can use the orange ticket we have. It didn't hurt to have extra tickets, as they could be used in many ways. The most obvious was to sell them. You could also give one to someone in exchange for their help inside the tower. The limited number of tickets made them even more valuable. 200 whites, 1,000 greens, 800 yellows, 500 oranges, 300 reds, and 5 blacks. The total number of people who could enter the tower at most is 3,105 every 2 months. Each red ticket counted as 2 people. Considering the size of the Tower of Wish, 3,105 was tiny. Will we see each other once we're inside? Probably.
I don't know for sure. This sounds fun. It seemed Jane was interested in going. I took off my hoodie and put the black ticket in my pocket. Then I'm leaving now. You're going home? Yes. All right, I'll take a nap then. Jane returned to her room, and I came back to Seoul through Khalifa's portal. However, I didn't go home. Instead, I headed to an underground facility in the Searcho district. This huge 650 square meter space with high-rank mana density was a training room I created for Evandel. It was an underground bunker I bought from a rich guy. Let's see. There she is. It was hard to spot Evandel since she was so small compared to the space. Hiap, hiap! Wearing a magician's hat and holding a wand, she was performing a rhythmical dance routine. A small army of ghosts followed her lead. A horse, a tiger, a crocodile. Wait, is that a unicorn? And that's a velociraptor? Yep, that's talent all right. I planned to bring her home, but she had a new friend every time I visited. Maybe this is why it was good to expose children to movies and fairy tales. Wave of honor! Evandel was working hard on her own. Ever since she started watching Precure, she began naming her moves. Spinning swirl! Shoot! I need to ask exactly what she'd been watching. Evandel? I called her name as I approached. Evandel stopped training and turned to me. Her eyes curled into crescent moons, and she hopped over. Hajin! Did you have fun? Then you must be tired. It's time to go home. It's still okay. Really? Evandel smiled brightly and nodded. She liked training more than I thought, but I was pressed for time. Then, I remembered the wolf sleeping in my chest. You can play with Fenrir for 10 minutes. We'll leave afterwards. I called Fenrir out. Grrr. Fenrir ran out excitedly and licked Evandel's leg. My wolf! As expected, of Evandel's first servant, Fenrir had grown a lot over the past 3 years. Ghost wolf. Servant. High intermediate rank. The first servant created by the witch Evandel. Basic stats. Strength, 9.950. Bite force, 10.850. Stamina, 6.535. Speed, 11.550. Perception, 11.605. Vitality, 6.750. Magic power, 7.850.
With these incredible stats, he could rival most low to intermediate rank heroes. But in front of Evandel, Fenrir was just a gentle puppy. Watching them play, I laughed bitterly. Once I entered the Tower of Wish, I wouldn't see Evandel for at least a month and a half, though I should be able to come back for 2 or 3 days after the tutorial ended. Evandel. I called her name in a slightly more serious tone. Huh? I need to tell you something. I'd already asked Haeun's parents to take care of Evandel for 1 or 2 months, and they happily agreed. From July 1st, I'll be away for a month. Evandel froze. But it's nothing dangerous. I'll come back soon. Evandel didn't say anything. I worried she might cry for the first time in 4 years. After a long silence, Evandel asked instead of crying, A month? 30 days? Yeah. I can't go? I shook my head silently. Evandel bit her lips. Her eyes watered, and her lips trembled. Still, she didn't cry. I'll come back soon. Think of it as a month-long break. Meanwhile, you can have fun with Haeung and Hyen. You can sleep in or watch TV late into the night. I tried to console her. I even picked her up and tried to give her a peck on the cheek. No beard! Evandel rejected me. Turning away with a pout, she refused to look at my face. I'll shave tomorrow. No, today. Evandel looked back at me with watery eyes. All I could do was smile. 2029, middle of May. The biggest tower in human history was named the Tower of Wish.
At the same time, information about entrance tickets spread quickly. Many ordinary people posted online that they had found an entrance ticket. The association wanted to control the tickets, but it was too late. People soon realized their value and began selling them online. Inside Essence of the Straits team leader office, Yu Yan-hei stared at a computer monitor in thought. Entrance ticket. She wasn't sure how it worked, but she knew she had to obtain as many as possible. Why do something so risky? Frustrated, she muttered with a sigh. Many people who posted about tickets online had gone missing, most likely attacked by jinns. 13 might be enough. Thanks to the Falling Blossom Guild, Yu Yan-hei had already purchased 13 entrance tickets. What she wanted now was information about the tower. She didn't want to lose precious guild members to an unknown tower. Tuk-tuk. Someone knocked on the door. Who is it? Team leader Yu Yan-hei? A package arrived. Come in. A guild employee entered with a mysterious piece of furniture. What's this? A chair? It looked like a chair, but a bit futuristic and strange. It had 2 legs instead of 4, and the back looked like a tidal wave. Who sent this? It's from, Kim Hajin's she? Kim Hajin? Oh, right. It's my birthday present, right? Yes, that's what it says here. A week ago, Yu Yan-hei had received a text from Kim Hajin saying he would send a birthday present. She sent a chair as a birthday present? A bit weird, but I don't have any problems with it. Thank you. You can go back. Yes. Yu Yan-hei put the chair down and tried sitting on it. It's not like I'm lacking chairs in my... She paused mid-sentence. No, she couldn't speak. A strange sensation wrapped around her as she leaned back. It was as if the chair was hugging her tightly. Kwang, kwang! Someone kicked open the office door. Hey, Yu Yan-hei! It was Chain Aeon. Startled, Yu Yan-hei quickly stood up. Geez, I'm a team leader, you know. Yu Yan-hei shouted at Chain Aeon, who didn't care about her position. Oh, sorry, I was just in a hurry. Geez, all right, so, what's up? Send me there! Where? The Tower of Wish! I heard you have tickets. The guild can keep whatever I bring back, so just let me go. Oh, it's about that. Yu Yan-hei knew Chain Aeon would want to go. Let's talk about that. Oh, what's up with this chair? It looks so weird. Chain Aeon sat down on the chair Yu Yan-hei got as a birthday present. Yu Yan-hei blinked and stared at her. It looks weird, but wow, this is amazing. Seeing Chain Aeon looking so comfortable, Yu Yan-hei felt a strange anxiety. Hey, get up. That's mine. Eh? It's not for guests? No. It's a super precious chair I got for my birthday. Oh, can't you tell just by looking at it? Now, get up. All right. As soon as Chain Aeon got up, Yu Yan-hei swapped her old chair for the one Kim Hajin gifted. She didn't want to put it off and risk Chain Aeon asking for it again. 2029, early June. Guilds like Essence of the Strait, Desolate Moon, Frost Sanctuary, and Creator's Sacred Grace managed to obtain entrance tickets and began meeting for discussions. Meanwhile, the English Royal Court Guild was also in a meeting. The topic was the newly discovered tower, but compared to other guilds, they were in a much better position. We have a total of 7 tickets. The English Royal Court Guild was lucky enough to obtain 10 tickets. 8 greens, 1 orange, and 1 red. However, they sold their 2 off-color and 1 green ticket to Geronimo Mercenary, leaving them with 7 green tickets. Today's meeting was to decide who would use the entrance tickets. Although there were many ideas, no one actively volunteered. Everyone was secretly afraid of what lay inside such a giant tower. The entrance ticket stated, participants can freely exit once the tutorial is over, but there was no information about this tutorial. I'll go! Someone volunteered resolutely. Immediately, everyone in the room stood up. No, no! If something happens to the vice leader, there's little chance the guild master will agree. However, the Royal Court Guild's vice leader, Rachel, made her decision clear. No, I'm going, and you don't need to worry. She hesitated slightly before continuing. Geronimo's Fenrir will be entering as well. Ah, in that case, I'm sure it's fine. The atmosphere changed instantly. That was how much Fenrir was loved in England. Although England didn't know it, Chok Jin-young's achievements were all credited to Fenrir. Ah, could it be? Did Fenrir say he would protect you? Pardon? I'm curious too. Did he say he would protect you? The meeting suddenly turned into a press conference. Nego, I can tell you're flustered. Flustered? No! Everyone be quiet. Now you're angry. No, I'm not. We need to proceed with the meeting. The young 21-year-old vice leader was easy target for the other, more experienced members. As many of them had known Rachel since she was young, the English Royal Court Guild had become quite like a family.
2029, July 1st. The promised date arrived. Currently, I was inside Chameleon Troop's hideout, waiting for the portal to open. I'm so bored. Newbie, when is the portal opening? Chek Jong-young asked. Just wait a bit.
Other than me, Jane, Chiak Chang-young, and Boss had tickets. Other members were interested, but they were either busy or didn't mind waiting for the second round of tickets. I'm itching with excitement. Jane, you're following me as my companion? You're my companion, idiot. Jane glared at Chiak Chang-young. Jane had a red ticket, and Chiak Chang-young annoyed her until she agreed to let him accompany her. Everyone be quiet and wait, Boss spoke. At that moment, our entrance tickets glowed with magic power. We threw them on the ground. Immediately, the tickets absorbed nearby magic power and created 3 pillars of light: orange, red, black. Each pillar had a different color. So we just walk in? Chiak Chang-young asked, smacking his lips. Yes. All right, I'll see you inside, newbie. Before you go, I think you should choose the lowest difficulty level for the tutorial. We want to meet up as soon as possible. I don't mind, but I doubt this idiot will do that. Jane smiled wryly, and Chiak Chang-young agreed. Obviously, I'm going for the highest difficulty. Then, boss, at least you should... I turned to boss. Recently, boss's trust in me had grown a lot. Oh, okay. Then I will go with the, lowest difficulty. But by the looks of it, she was planning to do what she wanted. All right, I'm going in. Without hesitation, I walked into the black portal. Immediately, whoa! The world flipped upside down, and I landed on my back. Ooh, what the heck? A cold ground, chilly wind, an unusual sensation. Even my voice came out staticky, like a broken television. Although it was exactly as I described in my novel, it still felt strange to experience firsthand. I quickly got up and looked around. I was in a pitch-black space. I wonder when it's going to start. After about 5 minutes, blue words popped up in front of me. Welcome to the tower. It was more realistic 3D text than what was shown in VR games. Before you start, please choose your nickname. Nickname. The tower seemed to have the same setting as the one I created. Nickname, huh? I already know what nickname everyone would use. Kim Soo-ho should be Master Holy Sword, Shin Jung-hak should be Young Fly, Jin Sa-hik should be Strongest Will, and Chae Na-yeon should be I'm Gosu. After thinking for a moment, I guess I'll go with this. Extra 7. I decided on my nickname. Extra 7 Neem, welcome. Your nickname will replace your name in the tower's community room.
Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.